Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of the Lyfe Network. I'm Daniel Carter reporting today, and today we have the founder of the Lyfe Network, Mr. C.J. Olton. How you doing, man?
Doing well, my brother. You all right?
Yep, I'm
Yes,
good.
sir.
How are you?
Good, man. Good as I can be. The mental health is stable for the
Yes.
most part. The physical health, I feel good. But yeah, I feel great right now. How are you?
I'm doing fine, man. I can't complain.
All right. Cool.
Yes, sir. So how's the Lyfe Network going?
The Lyfe Network is good right now. We have two major things that we're working on right now. One is a mental health project here in Riverside County. I've been blessed, the Lyfe Network has been blessed, my team, to be working with the Riverside University Health System, RUHS, and furthermore, their committee, AFWAG, the African American Family Wellness Advisory Group. They hosted a bid where they were allowing different organizations and companies to apply for a grant opportunity to study mental health. So specifically for the Black community, obviously, we were blessed and fortunate to receive that. And that is what we've been starting as of April 2026. So we're head honcho right in the committee, the community, I mean, and we're doing good so far. So this is really just to promote that. Secondly, our relationship project, the 5 elements of an intimate relationship, is going well. But we could talk about that another time for sure.
Yes,
But,
sir.
those are 2 big projects that we're working on right now.
Yes, so since mental health is the main involvement with this whole grant program that you got awarded, what is your definition of mental health to you?
You know, that's a good question. Mental health really is the awareness of really the mind, and the state that you're in. So when I say the state that you're in, are you aware of the things that are going on around you, society, your community, your family? Are you aware of the state of yourself, right? Internally, do you understand the emotions that are going through your body? Can you regulate your thoughts? Do you know why you feel the way you feel? I think mental health, just to try and put it simple, is just simply understanding the mind, understanding your health and where you're at, and regulating those emotions. So whether you're happy or mad or sad, do you understand why you feel that way? And
Yes.
I think once you can get to that understanding, that's always the first step, right? So
Absolutely.
that's, just to put it simple, that's my definition of mental health.
Okay, Mr. Olin, my next question for you is that, how's your mental health going? How do you feel today? You're a very successful man. You're handling your business out here. I'm catching up to you.
Yeah,
I want to give you your
yeah.
credit, give you your flowers
Appreciate that.
while we're on camera. So what is in your head right now? What is making you tick?
Well, thank you for the compliment. I definitely feel like there's a lot more to accomplish. So when you say I'm successful, I do appreciate that. But I
Yes.
feel like I have so much more to accomplish. So that's what we're steady working on. But we do want to embrace what we have achieved so far, right? So
Yes.
I definitely feel great about that. My mental health, it's been an interesting dynamic. When I first felt, the sense of like depression, believe it or not, I just moved out to Lake Elsinore, and I had moved away from like all my friends in Orange
Yeah.
County, and I didn't know anybody out there.
Yeah.
So that, I didn't realize it at the time, but
Mhm.
I was extremely sad about that situation, and I didn't really know how to navigate that. But luckily, I had parents who cared enough to where they could help me navigate that.
Yes.
I thought it was important to just kind of bring that up, because mental health has always been around, right? It's just whether you neglect it or not, or embrace it or not, right? Acknowledge it.
Yeah.
But fast forward to today, you know, I regulate it as best as I possibly can.
Yes.
Life is really, truly a roller coaster. There's really ups and downs. So, as much as the ups that I've been embracing and working on this project and so forth, I also am embracing the downs and embracing the moments that are not going so well.
Yes.
Right. Man, right now I got car issues. So I gotta
Oh,
go
yeah.
and work on the car issues, right?
Yo.
So I'm just embracing everything that's happening to me,
Yeah.
good and bad, because I feel like it's a learning lesson. So, you know, why else are we here, right? We're here to learn. So
Yo.
I'm comfortable where I'm at. I'm not perfect, but I'm comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah. How about your mental health?
Well, you know what? My mental health is on the up and up because ever since I lost my mom, I've told everyone around me, I said it lit a fire underneath my butt. I'm not going to cuss on camera. Lit a fire underneath me because I told everyone that I refused to have my mom looking stupid out here in death. So I've just been taking it to the max, all gas, no brakes, ever since she's been gone. Ever since February 23rd, 2025 went away, all I've been saying is, let's see what you can do. So with all that being said, it's my mental health, I would say, is positive because I've done so much with the school district and with getting into Cal State Bakersfield, with journalism, with the precinct reporter. I'm a very busy person. Sometimes I feel like I'm too busy, I'm too overwhelmed, where I can't focus on one thing or the other. For instance, today, you know, I was rushing to get out here, but I got a paper due for Viewpoint, news articles. So I've been practicing on my news writing. So my mental health, the best way that I'm taking care of myself in my mind is accomplishing my goals, staying busy, and not taking no for an answer.
Exactly.
Not making excuses. If something doesn't go my way, I try to learn from it. As you mentioned with your car troubles that you're going through. It's hard for me to pay my car notes right now, pay rent, pay car insurance. You can ask my wife, Mary Jane. I was scraping pennies just the other day, you know? But I had to tell myself, hey, dude, it's not always going to be like this.
Right.
This is why you're furthering your education. This is why you're hustling the way that you're doing. So therefore, you don't have to live on $2,900 a month and make it work. You know what I'm saying? But overall, I'm in a good spot.
Good.
I can't complain.
It's good to hear, man. And my condolences to your mother. The little that I knew about her, you know, she was always polite to me. So, you know, I always take that in, and it definitely dears to my heart. So,
Yes.
my condolences to your family for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, man. And with all that being said, I have to ask you, what is the state of Black Americans' mental health throughout our country that you're witnessing?
You know,
Anything crazy?
yeah, that is, when it comes to mental health, and we're talking about Black Americans, it really, specifically Black Americans, it stretches back to slavery, right? Which was a very tumultuous time for our community, where, right, we were completely just treated like animals, stripped away from our families, branded, you know, all the graphic things that happened to us, you know, from a assault standpoint, all the way going into Jim Crow, being treated as second-class citizens.
Yes.
Even though we were supposed to be treated as citizens according to the law. The mental health today, it's not just one thing, right? It's very many things, and I think until you as an individual can understand yourself and understand where you come from, your identity, I think you're always going to have some kind of mental health issues. You have to get to a space where you're comfortable with yourself.
Yep.
You understand who you are, what you represent.
Yep.
You know, going into the deep end of the pool. I mean, in today's mental health, right? I think the family displacement is still there. I think abandonment, the crack cocaine, era did us no favors.
Oh no. Absolutely.
Definitely displaced us as a people in our direction. The incarceration, the assassination of our leaders, and it just goes on and on when it comes to the United States government and intelligence agencies and what they're responsible for in our community. But, there's a lot to say about that in regards to mental health in Black Americans. But I would suggest the first thing is learning who you are and your identity and just where you need to go. Understanding that we actually need each other more than we think.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
That's kind of my stance on that.
Yeah. My stance is the overgeneralization aspect of all Black folks being put into a box. If one of us does something bad, we're all bad.
Yeah.
If one of us gets caught stealing at the store, we all stole it. I argue with people on social media all the time about, hey, listen, don't put me in a box. Just because someone who looks like me did something out of line, that doesn't make me a bad person. And my personal opinion is that I feel Black Americans are the only group of people who are overgeneralized and gets put in a box. We get blamed for everything that someone else does, and I think that's not fair. Because one thing that I know is that there's good and bad people in every race and everywhere you go.
Absolutely.
The only thing that I ask is give us the benefit of the doubt, like you give the other guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the main crisis that I think is going on with mental health within the Black community, is that we're suffering mentally from always having a finger pointed at us, even though we're doing everything right. We pay our taxes, we go to work every day, we don't hurt nobody, we don't bother nobody. But for some odd reason, there's always somebody trying to judge us and point the finger like you guys are bad people.
I think it's designed like that, right? I think when it comes down to it, they know who we are in terms of our history. They know what we've accomplished throughout the thousands and tens of thousands of years. And, example, you start with the pyramids and talk about that. And then, the other things, the civilizations that we've created, the inventions that we've created. Our melanin goes a long way. And they understand that. They understand who we are, what we've accomplished. And when I say they, you can depict that however you want.
Yes.
Elites, however you want to call it. But the idea is that mental health, this isn't a mistake. It's not an accident, right? For capitalism to thrive, capitalism is attached to slavery.
Yes.
Right? When you look at the books, you look at the history, there's no other way to put that. It's attached. And so for the elites to thrive, they have to, in essence, keep the masses as slaves.
Yes.
The best way to do that is to attack the mind. So when I say mental health is, it's not broken, right? It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yes.
They put us in the state of mind. They put us in the poverty. They put us in the bad communities, the drugs, the alcohol. All that was by design.
Yes.
That's why you see mental health so prevalent today, because it was designed to do that. If we tap into our potential and what we really can do, we don't have to work for nobody else.
Yes.
Right? And if we're not working for them, then we're working for ourselves. And that doesn't benefit them. Right? So I think it goes a long way with that, and I think that's the design of mental health, and specifically why Black Americans are in the state that they are, is because they know we're powerful. and
Yes.
we know the resources that we have. If we tap into it, we can connect with the rest of the world,
Yes.
right? We connect with the rest of the African diaspora around the world. That is a no-no, right? So a lot of this technology, this equipment that we use,
Yeah.
the raw materials, right? They come from Africa.
Speaking on the African diaspora that's worldwide, what is your thoughts about the propaganda that is always being promoted, stating that Black Americans don't get along with Africans from the continent, or don't get along with Haitians or Jamaicans? I personally feel that's all propaganda. I feel like it's like a trick.
Yeah, well, I think that it's just it's opinions, right? I don't have that experience. I think that one fool makes many, and so it starts with someone's logic, someone's opinion, and then it spreads. But from my conversations with Haitians, Jamaicans, Africans, I'm partnered with a couple of African organizations, and I've never gotten that sense of like hatred or anything
Yeah.
like that. I think it's just propaganda.
Yes.
It's media, and once again, it is the program, right, of
Yeah.
the system and the elites to separate us,
Yes.
right? They want you to go as far as to think that like Haitians are different from Jamaicans, and they're really not. They look exactly the same.
We all look the same.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just the idea of trying to separate us. It's easier to conquer when you separate us. So I think
Yes.
it's just a narrative. I think anyone with that real kind of knowledge, they don't like Black Americans, or they don't like Africans. They have a disconnect with themselves.
Well, most importantly, what is the goal of the mental health initiative that's going on with the African American Coalition that you're working with?
Yeah, so getting back to we're titling it the African American Community Engagement Qualitative Survey. And we are reaching out to all corners of Riverside County, Western, Mid, and Desert region to ask them how they feel about mental health and what RUHS and the county ultimately can do to improve upon mental health for African Americans. Ultimately, we're looking to have a facility where African Americans can go that will help treat their mental health, and also have that representation of
Yes.
someone that looks like you when you're going to get help. So that's an aspect of it. That's a big gist of it. Along with it, we're doing focus groups as well. And we actually accomplished our first focus group in the desert region.
Nice.
And, phenomenal information was shared there that in the future I hope to be able to present.
Okay, and in relation to everything that you just stated, for African Americans out there who don't have access to health insurance or health care, will you guys be providing avenues to get them signed up with health insurance?
Well, specifically the Lyfe Network, no. But the idea is again to provide a facility that can either guide them to that,
Yes.
or pretty much assist with that,
Yes.
right? So that is, our part is really distributing the questionnaires, distributing the surveys, and getting the information from the people so we can identify what that facility, what that center would look like, right? And I can't speak for our community, only the community can speak for the community. And so that's why we're moving in different cities, distributing these surveys.
Nice. Now, I would hate to ask you this question, but have you met any resistance from entities out there that made it hard for you guys to get this grant awarded to you guys? Have there been any type of haters trying to step on your toes?
No, I mean, nothing that I can verify.
Okay.
Only thoughts and opinions.
Yes.
Sometimes it could be a crab in the barrel mentality
Yes.
where you see someone get something that's rewarded and maybe you're not too fond of it, you're not too happy about it.
Yes.
And I think that comes with it. I think anytime you are doing something that is positive,
Yes.
anytime you do something that is successful or you achieve something, it always comes with the haters and so forth.
Yes.
It's something you have to accept.
Okay.
And I've accepted, and once again I've embraced it. So
Okay.
we appreciate everyone. We love everybody. So
Absolutely.
it is what it is.
Okay, and to conclude this interview, I would like to ask you, most importantly, what should we expect for this summer and upcoming fall with the Lyfe Network?
Yeah, the Lyfe Network. The Lyfe Network is going to continue to push this mental health initiative. Obviously, here in Riverside County, we're going to continue to do our job with distributing the questionnaires. We're going to continue to do our job with hosting the focus groups. And it is definitely our desire to make sure that we are able to present information to the county that is worthwhile so that we can actually have a facility, have a place where we can go to actually get the treatment that we need, go into this center or facility where we can have the traditional and non-traditional practices that we want, and be able to heal ourselves mentally. And I think the only way that's going to happen is if we take care of ourselves, right? And we need a space, we need funding.
Yes.
Yeah, when it comes down to the real solution, right? You need land.
Yes.
You need resources.
Yes.
Basically funding, and then you need labor, right? You need those therapists. You need the non-traditionalists that come in. For example, like yoga instructors, right?
Yes.
That can help meditate some of that stress away. So, that's what it comes down to, and that's what we're working towards. And we hope that what we compile at the end of it, whatever report that comes out, we hope that it's that much, it's a step further to accomplishing getting that facility in Riverside County.
Nice. And before we conclude this interview, is there anything else you would like to add?
You know what? We're going to focus on the dynamics of relationships, in particularly the Black community, but I think more so, I'm thinking about it more generationally.
Yes.
I'm thinking about the millennials particularly. And so once I think about the millennials, then I zone into the Black community. But love right now is widespread, so we're not judging anybody. The foundation of where we are today, you have to accept who people are and
Yes.
what they do. And so, we're going to continue to develop that 5 elements of an intimate relationship project that we've been working on for some years, and look forward to getting the community involved in that in person. As you know, I've been hosting the online aspect
Yes.
of it, but now it's time to get us in a space where we
Yeah.
can hash out these conversations,
Yeah.
and really talk about what's necessary and what's needed to try and heal these relationships. As we say all the time, I think from a millennial standpoint, we're looking at some pretty horrifying statistics.
Yes.
Not having children as much, not being married
Yeah.
at the same rate, and separating at one of the highest rates. So
Yes.
that's what that project is about, is trying to heal from that standpoint. And I think the mental health, and I actually think the relationships are intertwined.
Yes.
And so that's what we're working on in terms of our wellness sector. So we're just going to keep trucking, we're going to keep pushing.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude our interview for today. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of the Lyfe Network. I'm Daniel Carter, and the organizer and the leader and the founder of the Lyfe Network, Mr. C.J. Olton. Have a good day.
Appreciate it.